So we recently just witnessed a major sell-off across the board for crypto. And as we really kind of focus on this, one thing that is pretty interesting to me is how panicky people can get when we start to have a nice little drop or a nice little correction technically in the market. For an example, XRP on the daily is down about 8.22%. I think that the full drop was a little like under 13%. But this is what the 7-day looks like. But then when we zoom out, we're still up 44.71% on the 1 month. And this is what the 1 year looks like for XRP right now, an upside of 400+%. Okay. It kind of reminds me back here in December when XRP started to sell off and touch around like the $2 region, almost like the $1.90 region. And I remember everyone during that time saying, all right, well, that was it for XRP. Now it's back down to $1 or 50 cents. And then we continued to run up all the way to like $3.40. The same thing is starting now with XRP having this nice little drop and even the altcoin market dropping. Everyone's like, oh, I thought, July was going to be bullish, or I thought this was going to be bullish. And then all of a sudden, this is happening. And it's crazy to me because the entire month of July was insanely bullish for altcoins and for crypto. We're seeing a slight correction here, and all of a sudden everyone's panicky. But I'm going to actually tell you guys exactly why we shouldn't be panicking right now. And I'm actually going to be talking about a price prediction that I witnessed on X. And this price prediction, it's very interesting. It's very interesting because we also have a timeline to go with it as well. And we're going to talk about this. So let's first start off with the price chart for XRP. This is what it currently looks like on the daily. Now, obviously, I'm recording this a little bit ahead of time. Nothing too crazy. Obviously, by the time that this does go live, we shouldn't have too much crazy price action or anything like that. But yeah, like I said, I think that we're in the initial pullback phase here where we're just kind of chopping, and I'm hoping to see if we could build a floor around the previous high from like March. This is also major support back in January as well, and this is like right around $2.96. It's also the full gap being filled on XRP. So, this is nothing too crazy. We hit higher time frame resistance, we sold off, and now we're hitting a demand zone. And the question is, are we bottomed out, or is this going to continue to chop a bit? Ultimately, what I would like to see is just us kind of chop sideways a bit, build a floor, and then start to kind of break out to the upside. That would be healthy price action. That's what we should welcome in. But I do think that we might go into a little bit of boring price action now, considering the fact that some of these altcoins, like even XRP, from the lows, just ran like 90% plus. Some of them actually 100% in just like a day. So when we think about this recent move, this pullback is healthy. The total move right now in terms of the downside was about roughly 19%. So this kind of shook the tree a bit. People were a little panicky, but we've dealt with this before. I mean, even back here, this pullback on XRP initially was like 34%. So that's healthy price action, and it actually supports higher price action on XRP as well, because we are sweeping liquidity, building more liquidity, and that's what allows us to actually launch to the upside. Now, let's actually go over a few things with XRP. Number one, let's actually start off with tokenized RWAs on the XRP ledger. It jumped 2,260% from $5 million in January to over 118 million today. And this is what the current view looks like on the XRP ledger. We have $133.51 million worth of RWA value on the XRP ledger. We also have 10 RWA assets here, $137.36 million in stablecoin market cap, which is actually up about 15.4% in the last 30 days. And we could also see the growth here in terms of what's really kind of growing on the XRP ledger. The Open Eden Digital Initiative is the one that's up 291%. USDC on XRP is actually up 105% as well. So we love to see that. And we can actually see the growth down here in terms of what's actually been growing. The Open Eden T-bill vault is what's up 33%. And then we also have down here, the USDC stablecoin up about 17.2%. From just 7 days ago, by the way. This is 7-day growth. So love to see that. And I would love to see a little bit more released on the XRP ledger in terms of tokenized RWAs. We do know that there's quite a bit of announcements and partnerships that have yet to actually hit the XRP ledger. Now, on top of that, we have Brazil's top fund management firm Vert launches a blockchain platform on the XRP ledger to manage private credit operations. The first live transaction is a CRA issuance valued at $130 million. Now, we do know that Brazil was one of the first places to actually have an XRP ETF traded live, and we're talking about a spot ETF as well. We also know that XRP and Ripple have been very big in the Brazilian region. For an example, we go back to like Travelex Bank, for an example, that did partner up with Ripple back in 2022, I believe. And that was actually with the Central Bank of Brazil. And talking about the Central Bank of Brazil, they've also been in discussion with Ripple for quite some time. And just the Brazil region has been always pretty bullish for Ripple and even XRP. So love to see this. And just to kind of dive on into the specifics here, we have Vert has launched a blockchain-based platform for structured credit, now live with a BRL, Brazilian real, 700 million, this is $130 million, issuance on the XRP ledger plus the EVM sidechain. The first asset is a CRA financing Brazil's agribusiness sector, which contributes over 20% of the national GDP. A major step for tokenization and on-chain transparency, efficiency, and traceability. And we have over here the full-on announcement. We already know the value here, so we don't have to go over that. But we do have that this is leveraging the XRP ledger's efficiency, low cost, and compliance features. Vert solution enables secure value movement and transparent settlement across each stage of the structured credit lifecycle. It also integrates the XRP ledger EVM sidechain on an Ethereum compatible environment that brings smart contract functionality to enable programmable automation, the recording of metadata and key documents, and support for more detailed reporting. So yeah, this is great to see. We have a few quotes here. For example, the director of digital assets at Vert said, "We are enabling operation events to be recorded in the most granular way possible, ensuring traceability and transparency with event records increasingly closer to the moment they occur, approaching real time. It is a concrete step towards the evolution of tokenization as a structural pillar of the modern capital market. Tokenization also addresses the demand for greater transparency of operations coming mainly from foreign investors." So this is great to see. And of course, we do have Vert's integration with the XRP ledger in collaboration with Ripple. A key contributor marks another milestone in the firm's ongoing commitment to innovation in Brazil's capital markets. Its founders were pioneers in the CRA market in the country. Over its 9 years of operation, Vert has built a team of more than 200 professionals and has already issued more than 350 operations, totaling approximately BRL, Brazilian real, 86 billion issued and 58 billion under management. So this is a massive player. Agribusiness plays an essential role in Brazil's economy, and improving how credit is structured and tackled in this sector is a meaningful advancement. This milestone demonstrates how blockchain technology through the XRP ledger can serve as reliable infrastructure for modernizing financial markets that are foundational to national growth. Vert plans to expand the platform to a growing pipeline of additional structured credit operations representing over $500 million in value. The system is designed to support new asset classes and adapt to Brazil's evolving regulatory and market infrastructure. So yeah, this is very exciting. $500 million would have XRP at almost the top of the list for these networks. So we love to see that. That's huge, and another great step for, of course, XRP. Which leads me to the next post, which is the price prediction. And I do apologize if I made you guys wait a little bit longer on this. I still have a lot of information to go off of, but here we have chartered market technician Tony Severino predicts XRP to hit $13 within the next 42 days. This is pretty crazy. Now, when we look at this, it's mainly based off of what was happening back in 2017 and 2018. Now, I do like the fact that he is using Elliott wave theory. It's one thing that a lot of people actually don't use when it comes to, price action with XRP or price charts with XRP. I think that the only other individual that I do know is Credible Crypto. Typically, when everyone says like, oh, we're going to repeat 2017, 2018, they say, all right, well, let's just throw, the bars graph here. Well, here we actually have a nice price target, and it's a time frame of when this can happen, which is 42 days. This would take us to roughly, doesn't give us a full-on date, but This is a pretty interesting chart, and it actually could line up perfectly. Obviously, the $10 to $15 region is something that I said is possible, so it's not like the price target itself is out of the question. The question is time frame, right? It's very hard to actually predict time frame. But we have Tony the Bull Severino, a respected chartered market technician, has predicted a timeline for XRP to hit the double-digit price milestone. Severino's latest market analysis comes as XRP rides the broader market rebound effort to reclaim the $3 price mark for the first time in 4 months. After beating the stubborn resistance level, XRP has soared to a new yearly peak, pushing closer to price discovery. However, market watchers like Severino believe the uptrend is still in its early stages. In his latest analysis, he highlighted what he calls the final move for XRP, suggesting that the altcoin has more upside potential from the current position. Notably, his commentary leveraged historical price movements to project when his final move could occur. Specifically, according to Severino, XRP may hit its cycle top within the next 40 days, consistent with the timeline it took to claim the 2018 bull run peak. Data from the analyst chart shows an extensive symmetrical triangle that formed on the weekly time frame for over 7 years. Specifically, this triangle started taking shape after XRP collapsed from the $3.8 peak in January of 2018. Amid XRP's underperformance over the past few years, the triangle maintained its structure. Interestingly, when XRP rallied past the $1 and the $2 psychological levels in November 2024, it secured a breakout above the triangle. However, this breakout faced a roadblock at the $3.40 peak in January of 2025, leading to what looks like a smaller symmetrical triangle or bull pennant. This small triangle lasted over 6 months, and XRP recently broke above it, as well as the back of the latest run to $3.60. Now, Tony Severino suggests this recent breakout could push further to a new all-time high of $13, marking a 261% increase from the current price and a 1900% rise from the breakout point of the 7-year symmetrical triangle. So, yeah, listen, this is definitely possible. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but the time frame is the only thing that I have an issue with. I think that this could definitely be possible. Like I said, $13 is pretty, right in range with the, extreme bull targets that we've talked about. So $13 within 42 days, we'll have to come back to this, but I would say $13 could definitely be hit by the end of this cycle, whenever that is. Do I think that it's going to happen in 42 days? I think that's very challenging to predict just based off of previous cycles exactly when we will top out. But with everything happening around XRP, it wouldn't surprise me if we actually did hit these targets. We got to remember, this is what we're dealing with. I actually saw this post come up on my timeline. Big shout to Altcoin Bail. But here we have breaking. We are now at phase 8 of XRP rise to dominance. ROUSD is released. Trump's inauguration. Gary officially leaves SEC. XRP strategic reserve. Ripple case ends. Alt season. Ripple name big bank partnership. We got all of them. The next big thing is the XRP ETF approval pending. And we have so many ETFs for XRP that are just in the waiting room. We're just waiting for this to be fully passed through. And it's also at a time where we continue to see momentum around XRP really growing and increasing. Even right now, the trading volume is up 150+% at $17.8 billion, which is also telling us that even regardless of the sell-off, there's also still a lot of buying pressure as well, because again, trading volume is buying and selling pressure. So, overall, XRP still looks pretty good here. I'm not too concerned at all with the price chart. And it's at a time where we just continue to see adoption happening around the XRP ledger, which could definitely support a possible $13 XRP within 42 days. Again, I think that we shouldn't get our hopes up for the 42-day, time frame, but still, this is pretty crazy if it does happen. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.